There is something that I've realized about society, something that makes it difficult for people to improve the quality of life. This is something that I realized when I was little, and it's something that I thought will change as I get older. When a person speaks truly about their struggles, their strength, their weaknesses, what they've been through, when a person is being vulnerable, people automatically think that that person is a loser. If you talk about your struggles, you're a loser. If you are this person who likes to brag, who's not honest, or who doesn't even see the truth about their situation, no one is going to say that you're a loser, even if you're not doing well in life. But if you express yourself, especially as a man, if you express yourself, you talk about what you are seeing in the world, what is causing the real problems that we're having in the world. Even if you're successful, it's like there is this part of people's brains that gets switched on that tells them that the person that you're listening to is a loser. You could be listening to someone that everyone felt like was a winner. You could be listening to Andrew Tate, right? But if Andrew Tate started being vulnerable, like being really vulnerable, talk about his fears, his struggles, that part will be activated. Like, oh, he's a loser. So a lot of people focus more on appearing as if they're strong because they believe that vulnerability is a weakness. Like, yeah, I'm going through something, but I can't say anything about it. Oh, I can see what's causing the problems that we have in our society, but I can't say anything about it. I can see the struggles of men, but I can't say anything about it. I understand why I behave this way when I'm faced with these kind of situations. Maybe something happened to me when I was little and I have not gotten over it. I have never been able to process what happened to me the right way. So I react like this. Like when you show awareness of oneself, right? Like when you truly understand yourself, people think you're a loser. When you understand what is going on in society, people think you're a loser. When you understand how we are being controlled in this world, people think you're a loser. Like you must be a loser. That is why you're complaining. Even if you're not even complaining, you might not even be complaining. You must just be talking about the harsh realities of this world that a lot of people are not talking about. People who think you're a loser. That's what's making it difficult for us to solve the problems that we have in our society. If there's a problem that we are not identifying, and this problem leaves some people broken, and no one is identifying the problem, it means that in every generation there will be people who are broken, who will become broken because of the problem that we are failing to identify. If someone is able to identify the problem and say, look, maybe the way that we we people are being programmed since they are young is in what's best for everyone. Maybe this one size fit all system isn't working for everyone. And we need to come up with real solutions. If a person who feels like they were never given a chance in life, they were never given the opportunities that they wanted in life, and they talk about it like, yo, man, I never had opportunities, I never had this and that. When we tell ourselves that, oh, that's a loser, because there are people who didn't get the same opportunities, who didn't get the opportunities that others got and they still made it, there is something that we're failing to realize. Like, it got to a point where to actually find yourself in a place that everyone will say is good, you just have to be lucky, because we are so unconscious as people. Like, we have not created a system that is fair. I remember when I was growing up, there was this guy, me and him were friends. He was a bit older than me. He didn't know how to read or write. He couldn't write, he couldn't read. I knew without any doubt in my mind that there is no way he's going to graduate. Like, there's no way that he's actually going to get a qualification in the end. School is not for him. Teachers were so damn unaware that they'll beat him. You're not serious. Like, they're not identifying the real problem, right? You're not serious. Look at this. You do you see that each and every student here is serious? You're the only one who's not serious. But I look at him and be like, what do you think this guy should do? You know what the guy was good at? He was good at building things using his hands and drawing. So good that we couldn't understand how he was able to. You know what I'm saying? You're like, damn, man, because I can't even, like, bro, I can't even draw this. You know, this thing. I'm so horrible when it comes to drawing. This guy does it effortlessly. Like, it's so easy for him and he does it. I'll be like, now this guy, I've met him a month back. He sells stuff in the street. We fail to identify the problem. We create a system that automatically makes some people losers. And you might say, no, but there are people who became very successful, like who made like very great paintings and all of that. But I'm talking about where I'm from, right? I'm talking about what we didn't notice. The people where I'm from who are interested in art, they never made it. It's very hard in South Africa to actually make it as an artist. Sometimes the system fail people and we call them losers. So when they express themselves and say, yo, man, look, I've been trying very hard since the beginning to, make my life better, to have this, to have that, but I failed. And sometimes they blame themselves. Sometimes they blame society. Be like, oh, you're a loser. You have a loser's mentality. The real truth is this system wasn't designed for everyone to win, and it makes it harder for some people. And if really we want to create a better society, we need to be aware of that some people can fail only because of the system. If you are a parent and you weren't raising your kids right and your kids failed, there's a real chance that if you weren't their parent, you were making you weren't the parent, there was someone, or you were their parent, but there was someone else who was raising them, making the same amount of money that you're making, facing the same amount of struggles that you're facing, they would have actually done way better. There was something that you were doing wrong, but you failed to realize that. You look at them and be like, yo, it's your fault. You don't realize how much you've abused them. You look at other children and be like, yeah, look at that kid. That kid is doing very well. Look at you. You grew up in the same neighborhood. You were given the same opportunity. But you don't realize that as a parent, you are the one who turned your son into a loser. You're the one who turned your daughter into a loser. Like, you were not treating them right from the beginning. They spent their childhood stressing because of how you were treating them. They weren't happy. They were dealing with problems they weren't supposed to be dealing with, instead of focusing on things that are going to help them in the future. They were busy focusing on the problems that you were giving them. We mustn't keep on failing to realize that there's something wrong with this system and blame people for not being able to thrive. It was never, like, this system wasn't created for everyone to win. That is the truth. And that is totally wrong. Life shouldn't be like that. Sports should be like that. I'm a big fan of MMA. I wouldn't watch MMA if everyone can win. I want to watch the best fighters win, right? But like, damn, that guy's takedown defense is insane. Damn, this guy has great cardio. Like, I've never seen anything like that. Like, this guy keeps on going. He doesn't get tired. Damn, that guy has great striking, Like, he knows how to counter punch. Like, it's impressive. But this is live. This is real, bro. People didn't come here because they wanted to be here. So we need to create a system that is fair for everyone when it comes to life itself. When people talk about their struggles, we tell ourselves that they're losers. Like, yo, there's a person who went through the same things that you went through, but they became very successful. Kevin Hart is 5'3", 5'4". But look at how successful he is. You are 5'6" and you're complaining about your height. You're saying that men who are 5'6" are not really respected in our society. They're not respected like that in our society. Look at Putin. Putin is like 5'6". One thing that we must realize about society is that anything is possible. What do I mean? You might find that there is a system that is making it difficult for Africans to become very successful in this world. But then there's this one black African who became super successful. And be like, yeah, look at that person. They were going. It's like, no, there will always be exceptions. But we must look at how the majority of people are being affected. So when someone says people who are 5'6" are not treated with the same respect as someone who's 6'1", we are not saying that there isn't a person who's 5'6" who's treated with more respect than people who are. No. What we're saying we're saying in general, like, if you are short, people might make conclusions about you and you might have to work a bit harder. If you are black in America, you might need to work a bit harder than someone who's white, even in South Africa. I remember Chris Rock said something that made me laugh. He was like, yeah, I've made it. I live in this neighborhood. It's a white neighborhood. He was like, the only black people in that neighborhood is him, Oprah. I remember, I forgot the name of the other person. I think it's Eddie Murphy, if I'm not mistaken. He was like, you know what the guy who lives next to me does? He's a barber. I think that's what he said. He's like, black people have to fly to, and you might say, no, it's not really like that, but it's like that. Like in South Africa, to even start a business, bro, like they will check everything. Where do you come from? Damn, giving you a loan is very risky, even if you're very intelligent. But looking at where you come from, looking at not even your history, but they judge you based on the group of people that you belong to. So even if you had more potential than them, you still have to fly. You still have, like, you need to prove yourself more. But it doesn't mean that there won't be one person who just makes it. Maybe who just becomes like you. Maybe this person just, meet the right people. These people help them, and then once they made it, they look at people that they grew up with and be like, I worked very hard. They used to laugh at me when I was not realizing that everyone was working hard. Everyone was trying. The system that we have created, it actually select people more like randomly. Like it doesn't have a lot to do with the qualities that are needed for someone to be selected. Like it's random. It's just luck. I remember I saw a post on Facebook. This other lady was saying something that hits home. She's like, we spend the best years of our lives going to school, studying, not doing things that kids would actually like to do. When you're a teenager, there are a lot of things that you want to do. You're still full of life, you're still full of energy. But now we're using our energy to study, go to school, listen to our teachers. Like, it's unfair that once you finish, you finish with everything, like everything related to school, you graduate. When you're looking for a job, they want experience. They're like, yeah, we want 2 to 3 years experience. You're like, that's a sign that the system is flawed, because they want experience on a field that experience isn't really that important. Like, actually, within 2 to 3 weeks, you could actually know how to do the job, right? Within 2 to 3 weeks. They'll be like, yeah, we want 2 to 3 years experience. I can do that without even going to school. I didn't even need to go to school to get that kind of job. And you want to tell me that you need 2 to 3 years experience? It's a sign that the system is flawed. A lot of people feel like losers in this world because they are not aware how the hidden forces that control this system operate. There are hidden elements that lead to failure, that lead to success, and that you're not really in control of. The real truth is everyone who exists in this realm do deserve to reach some level of success. Yes, not all of us can become Conor McGregor. Uh, not all of us can become Mayweather. Not all of us can become Michael Jordan. Not all of us can become Elon Musk. We don't have the same skills, same talents. But everyone knows how to do something in this world, and everyone have been trying. So it has a lot to do with the system itself. If we create a system where not everyone can make it, obviously not everyone is going to make it, and not because the one who will make it is better. No, if you don't believe me, watch talent shows. Watch talent shows. You find that there's this person who's extremely talented and who's working very hard, but they end up not winning. Because not everyone is going to win. There has to be a winner. And it depends more on where we are as a collective. If we are the ones who are voting, it depends on, like, if maybe there's something that happened in Iraq and there's this child who grew up in Iraq and who's in a competition, not super talented, but the child has been through a lot and they're in the competition, there's a real chance that they might win, right? We're talking about forces that even that child was not in control of. It's life. And it doesn't mean that if you try to win this year and you don't win, but you were good enough, next year you're going to win. You can keep on trying and keep on failing, never win. Remember, there's many humans on this planet. I remember I was communicating with someone about getting a job in South Africa. This person is 80. I was like, you know what sucks? If you didn't get a job when you were like, when you finished, when you graduated, when you were 25, you didn't get a job. The problem is this: there's the number of people who are unemployed is rising every year. So there's more competition now. And now you'll be competing against people who are very enthusiastic. Can't even say the word enthusiastic. Can't pronounce this word right. I don't know why. Enthusiastic. Right? Whatever. There will be, the people who are fresh out of college, fresh out of university, they will be more enthusiastic than you. You are demoralized. You've seen a lot. You no longer believe in yourself. You don't have the same energy that you had. I hate it when I watch videos on YouTube and someone is talking about their failures in life, and the person's reacting to the video and be like, I used to have the same problem and I changed my life around like this and that. No, first try to understand. Do not, bro, life can make it very difficult for you to make it. For real. Even if you're trying. Just because you tried something and it worked out doesn't mean that there are not millions of people who tried the same thing and it didn't work out for them. Let's say I became a successful YouTuber and I start to brag. No, it was very possible to fail. It was very possible that I make videos all the time and nobody's watching. Very possible. So a point where I'm like, ah no, this won't work out. Let me try something else. You can try to be a musician. You're dropping. I know because when I was growing up, what I was interested in is music more than anything. I know a lot of people who work very hard. The work ethic was insane, and then there'll be this person who's never really worked hard. There's this guy. He's a rapper. He raps in my language. He does Venek. Um, he's a good rapper, but he's not very successful. We just know him. He doesn't get a lot of gigs, but we know he's dope, right? There's this other guy who became very successful. He also raps in Venek. He's very successful. This guy, I was watching his interview the other day. He didn't make more than 5 songs to actually become known. The guy that I'm telling you about, he's been working very hard, but he doesn't become. He doesn't reach. He's not able to reach the amount of success that the other guy reached. Now that guy who only had to make like 5 songs to become successful thinks that it's him, like it's me. I've just worked hard and all of that. He doesn't realize that it has a lot to do with luck. Everyone is trying. If there's a time that people are actually trying is now. You need to stop thinking that people are just lazy. It has to do with luck. You could try to be something in life and fail miserably. One of my favorite MMA fighters is Khabib Nurmagomedov. Khabib is like everyone who's trained with him say he trains harder. He trains harder than everyone. He will spar with everyone. He doesn't tap. He doesn't get even during sparring. He doesn't lose. He has the right kind of mindset. But where does that mindset come from? Let's say you grew up in a place where MMA was not taken seriously. He didn't find something that was like interesting. He didn't. His father wasn't there to help to train him. All of that. Like he had to deal with. Do you think he would be the way that he is now? There's a reason why his best friend Islam Makachev, because they used to train together. I think they're the same age. They were trained by his father. They used to be trained together by his father used to train them. Islam Makachev only lost one fight in the UFC, and it was one of like those losses that are understandable. You're like, okay, he just got caught when it's not like he was not fighting well. Now he's gonna like he was the lightweight champion. He defended against few good fighters. Now he wants to fight at 170. I believe he's gonna win. He had a good start. He met the right people. Sometimes it doesn't even matter how great you are or how hard you've tried. There are unseen forces that decide who gets to win and who gets to lose. You can get yourself as ready as possible and still not win in this realm. That's why you must not feel like you're better than someone that you think is a loser. Because people didn't have the same experiences in life. Some people are damaged, and it's going to take a lot for them to heal. And even when they try to fake it until they make it, it doesn't work. They're going to end up experiencing burnout because they're acting, they're not being real. We have to be honest about factors that can lead to failure in this realm. We're not fully in control. In fact, we're not in control. The power the power went off, so you won't be able to see me clearly, but I hope the microphone is still working. Life isn't treating people the same, man. Even if people grow up in the same house, you might think that life is treating them the same. No. You don't know if the parents don't like the other child more. They might try to hide it, but they're still showing it. You don't know if the community doesn't like the other child more. I think people underestimate how much your environment has influence on you as a person, how you're going to act, how you're going to feel. If you bought a dog from someone who is abusing it, that dog isn't going to behave the same way that a dog that was raised by someone who loved it would. Like, the behavior isn't going to be the same. The dog that was abused, every time it sees you angry, it thinks you're going to do something to it. Every time you shout, it thinks that you're shouting at it. It's living in fear. Like, it's going to take time for that dog to think, hey, maybe I was wrong. Maybe this guy is actually going to treat me right. And that's why I tell you that it is important also to realize that some people that we may think that are losers in society are people who need healing, are people who have never been treated right. So all they know is suffering. All they know is rejection. All they know is struggle. All they know is failure. That is what is true in their reality. You might think, yeah, I'm just strong. No, it has to do with how life is treating you. There are things that I'm very extremely confident when it comes to these things. I know that I can do these things very well, and I have zero fear when I'm doing these things. And there are things that I'm like, I don't know, man, because it has to do with my experiences. If you know you can sing, or let me put it this way, if you have a song, there are places where you perform the song and people received the song well, and there are places where you got booed and maybe they throw stuff at you on stage. You're not going to have the same confidence as a person who's always killed it wherever they went. You might even feel like not performing. The energy is just not going to be the same. And you might think, hey, maybe faking it is the best move. But you find that it makes it worse. I don't think people should try to fake confidence. I think they should try to find confidence in acceptance, not by faking it. If I don't think I can do something very well, I'm not very confident I can perform very well, I mustn't fake it. I must accept how I feel. This is how I feel. I don't feel very confident. And from that, I'm be like, okay, but I'm still doing it. This doesn't mean that I'm not going to try to perform as well as I can, but it means that I'm not forcing it. Like, I'm not wasting a lot of energy or forcing confidence, because that takes a lot of energy. If you're gonna force confidence, like, do you understand like the amount of energy it takes? It takes. I remember yesterday I was watching. In fact, I wasn't watching. I came across videos of the top three contestants uh, for the Miss South Africa competition. When I was watching them, I was like, these people are not speaking from the heart. Like, they've prepared their speech. They've prepared their speeches, right? It's not like they stood in front of the crowd and say they're gonna speak their minds. They know what they're gonna talk about, but it's not like they prepared exactly what they're going to say. And I was like, they're not really connecting with the crowd because they're spending a lot of energy trying to perform instead of being real, instead of being spontaneous. You know, they must know how they feel when they stand. Because even if you prepare yourself when you're at home, you don't know how you're going to feel when you're standing in front of the crowd. You can stand in front of the crowd and feel scared and feel overwhelmed and feel like crying. But your speech is different. Your speech doesn't align with how you're feeling at the time. Of course, you're gonna like spend a lot of energy trying to perform, but you're not gonna seem real to people, and they can sense it if you're not being authentic. You're gonna stand in front of people and say, "I'm scared." I never even think that I'll feel just scared, but it's really amazing that I made it. In fact, it's not even the speech that you prepared. It was a different speech, but you said something simple. It's amazing that I made it this far. Seeing a lot of people, supporting what I do, it gives me a lot of confidence, and I wish a lot of South African people can develop the confidence that I have now, you know, because sometimes if you don't try, you'll never. Do you get what I'm saying? You find that people are connecting with that because they're not wasting energy trying to be fake. So I don't think you should have a fake it till you make it, like a personality. That's probably gonna make you fail more. I know people with that kind of attitude towards life. Like people can tell that something is wrong. Like they're faking it. They don't even read the room, right? They don't even try to figure out, because here's the thing, it matters how you make people feel. If you're not being authentic, you're just gonna be the fake it till I make it type of person. People will sense that, and you're not gonna make them feel good, and they're not gonna be rooting for you because of that. What is really important to me is understanding why there's so much suffering in the world, and are we really in control? What can we control if there are some things that we can control? There are a lot of things that are wrong with this society. A lot of things. I remember when I was in high school, there were days when they'll bring fruits, they'll bring apples, bananas, oranges. But there's something that used to happen that used to bother me. So let's say there were 60 students in my class. We'll be like, okay, we're gonna take 60 apples to grade 12C, right? They counted how many. But what will happen is that we will fight for those apples, and you find that there are people who don't even get a single apple. I mean, yeah, of course, we're supposed to get one. Some even get 5. There were people who were always ready, like, oh, we're just gonna. There were people that you knew they weren't gonna get an apple. Would we say that these people are losers? Some people would just be like, you know what, I'm not even gonna try to do anything. The problem is the system. They're supposed to give us the apples. They shouldn't let us fight for the apples. Some people don't even want to go through that kind of trouble. It doesn't make any sense that they have to fight for the apples. It doesn't make any sense that they must fight for scraps. Reminds me of Thanos when he was talking to his daughter. When she said they were happy in a home planet. It's like, what do you mean? Like fighting for scraps? Their planet was in the brink of collapse, and I'm the one who has actually saved it. And say, but I'm not even gonna say it. But the point that I'm trying to make is that sometimes the problem is the system. Don't blame a person for not getting an apple. I remember we used to do that sometimes. Like, you should have stood up and went there. But it's a broken system. Why should we fight for something that we can be given? And when you're fighting, everyone is putting their hands there. Some of the apples, you find that someone is actually like they're pressing it with their nails, and like, no, bro. Some of the apples fall down, bro. You're like, nah, that ain't it. This is the kind of society that we created. It's rough. It's not the system where things are working in order. You can tell how things are gonna work and there's fairness. No. So of course, those who win are not always gonna win because they deserve to win or anything like that. It will have a lot to do with luck. In fact, the more broken the system is, the more people are going to be selected not based on what they actually deserve. I was having a conversation with someone about why it's very difficult for Africa to produce like people that will be recognized worldwide. Like, yo, these are great people. I was like, it's not that Africa doesn't have great people, but the system. If we decide as South Africans that the politicians that deserve to be on top are the politicians who sing. These are the politicians who talk too much. These are the politicians who make us go on strike even if it doesn't even make sense. I remember I made a video about some strike. Someone got shot and people were on strike. They wanted the mall to be closed for 7 days because they wanted to mourn the person who died. I'll be like, how is that a solution? Like, those are the kind of politicians who are going to say, yeah, the mall should be closed for 7 days, blah, blah. And you find that these people have their own agendas. But these are the kind of people that South Africans are programmed to respond to. Not the ones who are going to come up with actual solutions that are actually going to take, like, everyone is going to win, actually, from the solution that these people are going to come up with. So, the right people don't end up getting the recognition they need, so they fail because of the system. The same way that if you're signed to a record label, you are talented, but they don't really believe in you, so they're not really helping you. So they believe in someone else. So you're not getting what you need to actually, you know what I'm saying? But you can do it. Like, if they give you the right resources, you're going to actually be able to pull it off. it's going to look like you just can't do it. So if you feel like you're a loser, man, look at your own life. Look at the things that you've been through. Look at the ways that this world has hurt you. You might actually realize that it was never your fault. This doesn't mean that uh, you should just be like, okay, fine, the system is broken, I must do nothing. That's not what I'm saying. But we we don't want to we don't want to actually see the real problem when things go wrong. And those who do are called losers, so they're afraid to point out what the real problems are. But like, yo, they're gonna think I'm a loser. They're gonna think I'm a hater. If you're lucky, that's beautiful, man. Enjoy your luck. If you're not, know what are the things that led to you being unlucky. So that you will be able to point out what the real problems are. Let's not pretend as if this is a perfect society. It's not. I remember when I was still waiting for government. I was friends with some guys who worked at HR. So they used to tell people like, yo, man, when we interview you, we check how you dressed. If you don't use your hands when you talk, because that shows that you don't have confidence. We ask you specific questions, see if you know what's going on in the country and all that. And I was like, the way you select, like you're never gonna select the best people. You're just gonna select some kind of people. Like the people that are gonna work for the department are always gonna be the same. Because you're actually focusing on the wrong things. And that's one of the reasons why most government institutions are failing, and private institutions are doing very well. I mean, I think it's like that in every country, really. In South Africa, it's even worse. Public hospitals are trash. It's like, who cares how a person dresses? Like, it's who they are. They want to be themselves at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Just because we want a job doesn't mean that you must force us to dress a certain way. If I feel like I express myself better when I use my hands, I mustn't talk like this because I'm not being myself. Do you get what I'm saying? It doesn't show lack of confidence. If I speak with a certain accent, it doesn't mean anything. Just listen to what I'm saying. If you ask me about politicians that are running our country, and if I can't tell you their names, it means I don't qualify. How is that even relevant? You see, it's only the people who know about politics, only people who know, because people who know a lot about politics will also know how to present themselves, But okay, as a politician, I must dress like this. Or I mean, when I go to an interview, I must dress like this, but this is how the politicians dress, this is how they talk. So they're only going to select certain kind of people. You find that it's not even the best people that are being selected. It's just a certain kind of people. Instead of coming up with a fake criteria, can you really do that job? That's it. I don't care I don't care how you talk. I don't care how you dress. I don't care who you know. Can you do the job? Things ain't what they seem, man. That's why people must be kind, I mean, A lot of people won't be kind because we say they must be kind. But really, man, if we were real, if we were honest with ourselves, we'll be kind. We'll be kind to one another for real. You know, whether that person is doing good or not. But it can be like that in this realm, you know. That's why I'm saying it's not a good realm. Thank you guys for watching until the end. I wanted this video to be longer, but the flashlight is hitting my eyes, you know, because there's no electricity. I don't know what happened, you know. Corruption, you know. We live in a corrupt country, so it's gonna be load shedding, load reduction, and all of that. And we're talking about a country where there's a lot of things. Like South Africa is supposed to be like one of the most successful countries in the world, so like well developed in every area. But it is what it is. Thank you guys for loving my videos. I believe that by the time I publish this video, we'll have reached 13,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for that. Let's keep on growing. Let's keep on reaching high levels of consciousness. Let's keep on seeing what is really going on in this realm, and let us learn to be as real as we can be, no matter what. Thank you all, guys.